You ready, John?
Oh, I'm ready. I was born ready.
The reason why I have to walk around like this is because
we're so high tech.
Yeah, we're very high tech. We don't even need a camera guy. You know, we do it ourselves. So sponsorship money.
Sponsorship money.
Excellent.
Rolling in it.
And I'm assuming we're framed up. If we're not, we're not. You know, it's cool.
It's all good. That's how we roll.
Yeah, exactly. So here we are, another episode of BeerAmerica.tv. Just keep knocking them out, one after another. Exactly. And it's hard work, but somebody's got to do it. But we
work.
Work. I know. And this is that's the fun part about all of this. You know, we started this in 2008, and you know, I think even in the last 4 years, it's 2012 right now when we're doing this particular blog, is seeing the evolution of beers. You know, we've been really fortunate to have really rare beers sent to us we've tried, and even mainstream beers that everybody else can get. And so this next beer that we're going to talk about, I've seen everywhere, and it's by a company, a brewing, you know, Left Hand Brewing company that most people are familiar with. And I think my first, the first beer I ever had from Left Hand was their Milk Stout.
Really?
And it was yummy. It was really good. I'm thinking like, this is like chocolate milk. I mean, it was wonderful. It was really, really great. And what I'm seeing a lot lately, and again, I started seeing this in Colorado because, you know, I think they're pretty much on the forefront, that state of brewing, wouldn't you say? I mean, they just...
You mean craft brewing?
Craft brewing, yeah.
Yeah, Colorado, and it's probably only like number 2
Vermont,
or 3.
yeah, is up there. But they, I had my first, not too long ago last year, I had my first nitro beer. Which to them, I mean, right, but I mean, I think a lot of people don't even know what that means. And we can talk about that. So the beer that we have today is their Left Hand Milk Stout Nitro. Nitro. And so what does that mean?
Well, the phenomenon of using nitrogen to dispense beer was effectively invented by Guinness. But what I think is important to note is that when Guinness came up with this way of dispensing beer, the effect they were trying to achieve is that very same effect that you see when you draw cask ale, which is virtually flat beer, through a beer engine. And a beer engine is basically just a small hand-driven piston pump that allows you to push beer at fairly high pressure through a little nozzle. It has very tiny little holes, and what that does is it just creates an enormous amount of turbulence there at the point of dispense. And when you have a beer that has very little carbonation, but just a little tiny bit,
right?
What little carbonation is there comes ripping out, and so initially it looks like a big glass of foam. Then it looks like you have the bubbles look like they're falling instead of rising, which is really just the liquid falling through the foam. But it doesn't hold up for a long time like a regular carbonated beer. If you get too much head on a regular carbonated beer, it takes forever for it to collapse. In this case, the foam immediately goes to beer.
Yeah.
So
that's funny. On the side too of the bottle, it says "pour hard and enjoy." You know, which so I mean, you're right. You don't get a big head on that beer.
I wonder if we screwed it up by. Well, it's doing it.
Yeah,
a little bit. We probably screwed it up by not just pouring the whole thing into a single glass.
Yeah, that's
but
that's pretty.
Yeah. So the idea with using nitrogen is what Guinness figured out is if they also put the beer into the keg with just a hint of carbonation, not really carbonated, but just a little tiny bit of CO2 in solution. And they pushed the beer instead of using a beer engine, but they would use top pressure, just like a conventional keg is dispensed. You could achieve the same effect, but here's the trick. Carbonation is really a function of CO2 going into solution, and the solubility of CO2 is a function of temperature and pressure. CO2 is fairly soluble into a liquid media or a water-based media like beer. Nitrogen, on the other hand, is not. So the problem arises that if you push beer at exceptionally high pressures in order to achieve that dispense, that little trick,
right?
Eventually, that beer would start to draw in. The CO2 would start to go into solution. So the way you avoid this is you basically create a balance. You get just the right amount of CO2 in, but you use the additional pressure required is made up using nitrogen. That's the nitro part.
Okay.
Nitrogen, as it turns out, is not very soluble in water or beer. So you can use exceedingly high pressure, and only a little teeny tiny bit of nitrogen will ever actually go into solution. They originally came up with the cans.
Oh, Boddington's.
Boddington's uses it. A handful of the English beers.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Those little canisters inside.
Yeah, they've got either like a little hockey puck looking thing at the bottom, or in some cases, like in the bottles, you have this sort of wacky pellet-like thing.
Right.
And those things are basically just a little pocket, if you will, of gas that goes into the with one-way valves on both sides. When the gas goes into solution as it's being pressurized into solution, it goes into that little pod, and then when you open the bottle, release the pressure, it comes squirting out.
Gotcha.
But the guys at Left Hand figured out how to do it without the widget.
Yeah.
And
when you taste it, and that's what I love about Nitro, and I've had a few Nitro beers, there's just a wonderful smoothness about it. I mean, it's silky smooth.
Yeah. And that's really just a function of the fact that it's not sparkly with carbonation. Now, I think we've talked about this before. I happen to be a fan of carbonation. I like it, but I also really appreciate that effect. I mean, one of the things that's nice about cask ale or the nitro poured beers is you just have that softness, that creaminess that's achieved there. And they've done a nice job. Eric Wallace, when pressed for details about this, was pretty coy about the whole thing, and just said that they put a lot of resources into trying to get this right, and in the end, they weren't really all that psyched about sharing what they came up with.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, the way he put it was, really what it all comes down to is Henry's Law, which is the law of partial pressure gases, which is exactly what I've just described, that whole solubility issue. So they've got something tweaked there, but it's the end result is quite nice.
It's their Milk Stout Nitro. It's awesome.
So it's a creamy beer gotten even creamier.
Yeah, it really has, and it works well with this beer. Really nice.
That could go down pretty quick.
Yeah, exactly. Well, wonderful. I love it, and I love the whole. Thanks for telling us about all that, because I think it helps people understand what they're into if they see nitro at the bottom, which you'll probably see more of.
That got a little heady pretty quick, didn't it?
No, it's okay. It's good. It's all good.
Sometimes it just comes spilling out. I don't know.
Learn and entertain
speaking
and learn.
in tongues.
Yeah, educate and entertain. I think that's kind of what we try to do. So.
All right.
Excellent. Well.
So who sent us this?
No,
we bought this one.
We bought this, yeah, because I've been seeing it everywhere. So we went looking. I'm like, let's get this.
I was about to thank our good friend Chris Leonard.
We don't need to thank anybody. No.
But I guess we purchased one on our own.
Yeah, we did. So there you go.
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah. And you're welcome.
We're fans.
Yeah, exactly. So. We are. All right. Hey, Paul at BeerAmerica.tv.
Pink at BeerAmerica.tv.
Hey, we like the Nitro. Let's hopefully we see more of these down the road.
Yeah, maybe I'll have to feed Eric beers until he forgets that he's trying to keep a secret.
There you go. Nice.
All right.
Cheers.
Cheers.